morning, everybody. It's Monday. Wake up. Keith Engle here for Jack and Keith's Weekend Playbook here on TGI Sports Talk and the McGrath Podcast Network, as well as Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. A lot to talk about today, and let me bring in my co-host, boxing Hall of Fame writer and Michael Spink's biographer, Jack Hirsch. How are you, Jack?
Hey, good like usual, Keith. Raring to go.
Usual. Jack is
NFL draft week. I've been looking forward to this for a long time. And, with Weekend Playbooks, I won't see you again after this show until Friday after day one of the draft. So we got to get into it like it's
We'll definitely get into it. We'll talk a little bit of NBA first. We'll get into the draft and some scenarios. And Jack and I already have started our disagreements before the show, so it'll all be interesting. And if we have time, we'll talk about the Mets' dire situation before we wrap this up. Let's start with the NBA. We know real quickly with the Saturday games, because we talked about them yesterday on our roundtable show, but some people may not have seen it. I didn't see any big surprises. I was impressed with what the Knicks did on Saturday with the Hawks, especially defensively. I thought they played pretty well, and we talked about Downs playing well, but you saw all of Downs, good and bad, in the same game Saturday. Anything that stands out to you again? And by the way, Jokic said he was even saving himself. He said yesterday he didn't even go all out, and that should scare the NBA teams if Jokic's got a little bit more left in him than that.
Well, but some of these teams, these are just tune-ups for bigger things. I mean, look at OKC. I mean, it's a tune-up for them. I mean, look at San Antonio, the series, that series against Phoenix, Portland, they're tune-ups.
Yesterday
That's what it takes. But for the Celtics and the Sixers, this is a tune-up for the next round.
If we say that, though, what do we make of the Magic beating the Pistons? Because we all thought yesterday games would be terrible.
That is a serious series, and it's not just one game where the Magic stun the Pistons, and the Pistons are quickly going to regroup and take care of business. The Pistons are in a dogfight to win this series. Make no mistake about it, because we hear the term losing something off your fastball.
Yeah.
But after the Pistons were phenomenal a good part of the season, they lost something off their fastball. They weren't the same team. And if you saw game one against Orlando out-hustled them. Orlando played with so much more desire. And Orlando showed like they belong. The Pistons seem to be going through the motions at times. I mean, the attitude was, we'll show up with a better team and we'll win. That wasn't the case at all. And Orlando's got the personnel. I mean, you look at guys like Desmond Bain, Wagner. You go
Charles, really good player.
You go down the list, and Orlando has some really good personnel there. They played poorly this season on balance. They've been a big disappointment because they didn't take the next step up, to be a contender for top honors in the East the way we thought they might be. But now it's playoff time, and they woke up against Charlotte in that last game to advance to the playoffs, and they're a serious threat to the Pistons.
They do have some guys that, in my mind, almost feel like they disappeared in the NBA a little bit, like Suggs and like Banero, two really good college players, by the way, who I felt kind of disappeared in the NBA because nobody pays attention to Orlando. And they were a little bit of a disappointment in the regular season because people expect them to take a bigger step forward. So they could be a dangerous out here for the Pistons if they take them lightly. And I think it's important they come back, obviously, and win game 2 at home. But otherwise, no surprises. Certainly yesterday, we had blowouts in pretty much every game.
Well, let me tell you who the big winners are. It's actually the Celtics, and the Knicks are kind of paying a price in a way by not being the number 2 seed. They're going to have to pay a price because if Orlando beats Detroit, and Orlando's in with a 50-50 chance now of winning this series. Make no mistake about it. My attitude isn't, the Pistons are going to come back. They're the better team. That's not my attitude at all. I think Orlando has a good chance of winning this series. If Orlando wins this series, you know what the matchup is in the next round? The Celtics get Orlando, and Orlando's not beating the Celtics. Forget about that. That's not going to happen. They might be able to stun the Pistons, but they're not going to beat the Celtics. The Celtics are going to take care of the 76ers. The Sixers aren't coming back and winning this series. That's very safe to say. So now the Knicks are going to have to beat the Atlanta Hawks. Then they're going to have to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers, assuming the Cavaliers beat the Raptors, which they certainly will. And look at the Celtics' road to get to the finals. All they'll have to do is beat the Knicks Cavalier winner in reality. That's going to be the only tough series that they're going to have.
According to the bracket I'm looking at, though, the Magic would get the Cavalier Raptor winner in the second round.
No. The Celtics were the number 2 seed.
I understand.
The Knicks were the number 3 seed. So the Celtics would play the lowest seeded team, and that would be Orlando. Because the Pistons would have been eliminated.
Why do they set up a bracket when they don't stick to the
right. The Pistons would have been eliminated. So the highest seed gets the lowest seed, and Orlando would be the lowest seed with what's left.
Which makes sense, and that's the way it should be done. And I don't know why.
I think they jumped the gun on the brackets the way it was done, like assuming, what was going to happen.
Well, it's ESPN.
Like I'm assuming what's going to happen, and then I'll look foolish when it doesn't.
Yeah.
If it doesn't.
It's ESPN's bracket, so they don't know what the hell they're doing anyway.
Yeah. They say that about us as well. So,
well, that's fine. They're getting paid.
But chances are we're both right.
You're the only guy in the network getting paid here. They all get paid for crying out loud. So, anyway.
Speaking of ESPN, quick complaint, Keith. Very quick complaint.
Go ahead.
Two quick complaints, okay, about ESPN. I'm a bit ticked off. I decided I was going to watch some WrestleMania. I have the ESPN app. It was so difficult to get on. I couldn't get on. So I had my wife try to get on for me. She's a lot more tech savvy than me. She's on it for 10 minutes and we can't get on it. And I pay for this app and I can't get on it. I can't get on the app to watch it. They make it so darn difficult. That's one. Number two, very quickly, very, very quickly, because we have the other. Fox, you'll ask me later, very quick. One girl is carted out, Shadisha Green, on a stretcher. She later found out she has a brain bleed, but she'll be okay. Thankfully, last Friday night. Yeah. So at Madison Square Garden. It's telecast on ESPN. She'll be okay, thankfully. But all the announcers asking the opponent in the ring, what do you think of your performance? What about your next fight? There are people in the background smiling. Well, her opponent's life is in jeopardy. It wasn't the competitors, but it's the ESPN broadcast crew, except for one commentator, Christine Poucher. She was concerned about the well-being of Shadisha Green, the girl that was carted out. So kudos to her, but the rest of them were insensitive slobs as far as I'm concerned.
Well, we certainly hope that she'll be okay. And I think we're going to have, after the beginning of this conversation, I think it might be time for an intervention with Jack, because Saturday he's watching the UFL. Sunday he's watching WrestleMania, or wants to watch WrestleMania. We gotta talk.
And I watched golf the weekend before that. I'm getting all over the place. I'm losing it, Keith. I am absolutely losing it.
We're gonna have to have somebody monitor what put the TV stuff on for you. You either shouldn't be watching stuff or can't watch what you want to watch. So we got some problems here, Jack. I don't know. Well, I'll talk to your wife about this later. Anyway, the NBA will continue tonight with the Knicks. Again, all these games are important. I really think it's important the Knicks get to this 2-0 lead. I think they do get the 2-0 lead before they go to Atlanta.
But Keith, this is a harder path for the Knicks. We both think the Knicks are going to beat Atlanta. And even if it goes, let's say, 5 games, the way I think it'll go, Atlanta at least represents a threat to beat the Knicks in the series. Mm-hmm. So the Knicks are going to have to give it their all. They can't coast into the next round the way the Celtics can do with the 76ers. the way the Cavaliers could do it. Toronto, not that Toronto isn't capable of winning a game or two, but at this point, they're not a threat to beat Cleveland. Atlanta still represents a threat to beat the Knicks. That's the point. The Knicks are going to have to work harder than the other teams to get to the next round.
Agreed, but they're going to have to play all these teams at some point anyway. But except for this first round, I'll agree with you. As far as when you play people, I don't really care. You got to beat them anyway. So
it's mental energy, Keith.
Agreed.
You want to use as little of mental and physical energy as you can until you're forced to, and when you're in a grueling series against a team that's a threat.
Based on the way you started our NBA segment here, maybe the Pistons are going to have a harder route. And if they get away from Orlando, they're going to be the ones that are most mentally and physically drained after the first round.
So look at OKC and Phoenix. OKC was laughing in the huddles.
Yeah.
It's a tune-up for them. It's a warm-up. They're not exerting themselves till the next round. They're just sharpening up for the next round.
Yeah.
But if they had a different series, if OKC had to play Denver, even Minnesota, that would be a series that they'd be playing an opponent that represented a threat to beat them. They'd be giving more of themselves in that series, meaning if they advance, it could affect them into the next round. In other words, the Knicks' mission to get to the next round is going to be, to get to the finals, is going to be harder than the Celtics or harder than the Cavaliers. The Knicks are going to have to do it the hard way.
Speaking of the hard way, I have one gripe too about the NBA scheduling, and I think this is totally unintentional, not done on purpose. But when you're in the same city, we normally play every other night, especially early in the playoffs. Why do the Lakers and Rockets get an extra day of rest before their series resumes tomorrow? I don't understand that scheduling either. When the rest of the team,
someone has today. It's TV consideration.
Yeah. You know what though? That's not fair to the teams. Everybody should be playing on the same amount of rest until they're wrapping up series.
But Keith, it's not fair to you as a TV viewer. You have to be given a convenient schedule to watch the games.
I got multiple TVs. I can watch more than one game at a time.
Yeah, wait. I don't get you, Keith. I don't understand you for the life of me. I'm making a comparison to football. You're telling me if you have multiple quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks.
That's right.
But if you have multiple TVs, then you have no game you could concentrate on. I mean, same logic.
These are not parallel conversations. This is not the same thing. Right. Come on. I get what you're trying to say, I guess. But anyway, we'll move on to game two. The game twos tonight and tomorrow, I guess, and probably Wednesday. And then we'll be changing cities after that. By the time we talk this weekend, we could be looking at a couple series getting ready to wrap up, I would say. So we'll see how that goes.
Some of these series are wrapped up before they got started. I mean, come on. No. You think San Antonio and OKC aren't advancing against Phoenix and Portland? Come on.
Well, I think it's interesting now you've jumped on Orlando now that your Charlotte Hornets got eliminated in the play-in round. So you got to find a sleeper.
No. The Orlando Magic would not beat the Boston Celtics. They wouldn't beat the Cavaliers. They wouldn't beat the Knicks. But at this point, the Pistons lost something, the last quarter of the season or whatever. They lost something. It maybe even started before Kate Cunningham, went out with the collapsed lung. And they just haven't quite gotten it back. And I kind of wonder whether Kate Cunningham is even close to being 100%, regardless of any numbers he puts up.
So negative momentum, in other words, correct?
Yeah. I never heard that term, negative momentum.
Well, momentum goes both ways. Momentum goes forward and momentum goes backward. So, Denver's playing on great forward momentum.
Yeah, but you don't have a season full of momentum. Momentum doesn't last a season. Come on.
Will it last through the playoffs? Are the Nuggets in a good place because they've won?
You go on a run, and you have a lot of luck during that run. There's a lot of luck. You get a bounce here, a bounce there. And I tried to explain that to people, and they don't seem to get it. Even like a couple of World Series ago when the Yankees lost to the Dodgers in 5 games, people thought the Dodgers dominated. And I pointed out, if the Yankees got just one more out in game one, the last out, they win that game. And in game 5, if they didn't have 3 miscues, if they only made one good play out of the 3 miscues the way they were supposed to, they win that game as well, and they're up 3 games to 2.
If I had my eyesight, I wouldn't need glasses either. I mean,
right. No. But what I'm saying is that sometimes a very small margin.
I get it.
We saw that with the Knicks and the Hawks the other day when the Hawks went on an 11-0 run late in the game. Knicks suddenly couldn't make a shot. If they just made one darn shot, that would have stymied, the Hawk comeback.
It's not bad luck. And I agree, luck comes into play in sports, but I'm a big believer in the old axiom that luck is a residue of good design. So when luck follows good teams around for a reason. So it's not just that they're lucky, right? They put themselves in.
You put yourself in position to get lucky.
Yeah.
I agree.
You have to put yourself in position to take advantage of good luck. That's my.
Yeah, I agree.
So anyway, because right now, like the Mets, it's not going to do them any good if they got lucky today.
11 games in a row. I'm not sure whether I should be happy or not. Keith, I'm morally torn as a Yankee fan. Mets a New York team. I'd normally root for them if the Yankees were out of the picture and the Mets had a chance to go to the World Series. I wouldn't root against them even as a Yankee fan. This is torture. They're nursing a 1-0 lead yesterday. You think they're finally going to break the streak, but the Cubs tie it up and then win it? I don't want to see Mendoza get fired as the Met manager. What can the manager really do in these spots?
Who did I tell you would be a bust at the Mets? And he's not the only one, but Devin Williams is not going to be the answer in their bullpen.
Well, that's his first blown save. Okay, it's his first blown save. I mean, let's not get hyper about it.
He's been horrible. He's been in games and been horrible. He's been horrible. They've all been horrible. Weaver's been horrible. Williams been horrible. That whole bullpen's been horrible. But again, there's blame on the offense. There's blame on the defense. There's blame everywhere. And the
team lost 11 games in a row. We don't need you to tell us they're horrible. I mean, 11 in a row. Someone is bad.
I say that for a reason because I'm leading up to a comment that the manager is going to pay the ultimate price here very soon if this doesn't turn around. And this is David Stern's mess.
Lindor hasn't been hitting. Polanco's now a ninja reserve. But in all fairness, Pete Alonso at Baltimore hasn't been hitting. Still early on.
I'm not saying that. You look at Alonso, they felt they didn't need to pay him. I'm okay with that, right? But they bring in a Marcus Semien, who obviously is done it for Nemo, who was playing very well and was a big part of this offense. They trade away the heart of the team in McNeil, all possibly to make Lindor feel better about what's going on in the clubhouse. And he stinks, and he wants to be the captain. He's not leading by any example a captain should be.
Lindor's playing poorly, and these 10-year contracts, in the case of Lindor, he has 5 years left on it. And all these 10-year contracts are insane unless you sign a guy when he's very young. Derek Jeter signed a 10-year contract. People forget, but he was age 25. It's okay, 25 to age 35. Don't sign a guy to age 41 unless he's that rarity of rarities, a legacy player that you absolutely have to be with your franchise his whole career because his value extends even beyond the field.
Then you should be very happy with what the Pirates have done with Griffin and Tigers with McGonigal and Emerson.
Braves with Acuna, the 10-year deal early on.
These are brilliant moves because there's no opt-outs in these deals. No opt-outs.
Julio Rodriguez got signed young as a long-term deal by Seattle. Yeah. It's win-win. They save money. And
Brewers did it with a young shortstop whose name is escaping me at the moment.
They're doing it now. A lot of these teams, they're not waiting.
Right.
They're not waiting until it's too late.
And without opt-outs, they're giving them 9-year contracts, and that's your contract. And don't come back to me for more. So this is going to be interesting to see how this plays out. It's a gamble on both sides because none of these guys really, except for J-Rod.
If the guy turns into a superstar, he winds up getting underpaid.
Yeah,
on the market.
But there's a gamble on both sides, so that's fair, right? There's a gamble for the player because he may have made more money in 5 years than he will make, and it's a gamble for the team because the kid may not work out at all, and they wasted $140 million. So,
like I know, for example, you backed the Yankees to the hilt when they gave Aaron Hicks that 7-year contract.
No, wrong. No revisionist history. You're the guy who would like Aaron Hicks. I said get him out of town. Then you talked about how well he played in Baltimore, and I said, well, Baltimore's not New York. So,
you remember. Wow, you remember.
I got a mind like a memory.
Yeah, I mean.
Is it an elephant's got a great memory? I got a mind like an elephant. So anyway, let's move on to the draft. Because we're only a couple of days away now, and the anticipation and all the prognostication, and which will all be wrong probably, except maybe for Mendoza. Everything else will be up in the air. A lot of things. Let me just throw a few things out there, and then we're going to we'll just throw stuff back and forth. Obviously, the Lawrence trade makes a big impact in this draft because now the Giants have 2 of the top 10 picks. If they keep them, it'll be interesting to see what they do. That's a big story. Jeremiah Love, do the Titans stay? They could trade back. You can see the Titans and the Cardinals, I think, trade back. That's possible. Ty Simpson, I think, is a bigger story than maybe you do in the sense that I think you got a couple of teams, the Jets, the Cardinals, and the Rams even, that may play a little chicken here to see how far back they can go and still get Ty Simpson. We'll discuss some of that. Teams trading back. The Patriots could be picking for the Eagles if they actually pick in the first round. They could be picking for the Eagles because there could be a trade that's waiting to happen on June 1st. I think that's an interesting story. And I think there's a lot of unknowns here. Outside of Fernando Mendoza, we're not sure the Jets are going with David Bailey or Averill Reese or somebody totally different. We don't know. They'll do something crazy like pick Love.
I doubt it because they have Brees Hall there. So
I know that.
Taking Jeremiah Love. David Bailey's the most logical pick. Early in the process, a couple of months ago, 2-3 months ago, I thought I would have taken Reese. That was me. But when I analyzed it a little more carefully, with Reese, you're taking a player a little more based on his potential, a little more based on his upside. I'd rather do the short thing with Bailey. He might be so-so against the run, but he's an elite pass rusher, and he's going to be an impact play immediately. Now, the Jets, it's going to be a wasted year next year. I hate to say it. I think the Jets are gearing for the following year because a number of top quarterbacks are coming out of the draft, and they'll have to draft capital to get one. I hope it's my guy Trinidad Chambliss, who's going to be the next Brett Favre coming out. That's just my read on him. But so the Jets go number 2. Ty Simpson, Keith, is not a big story. He's a media creation.
Well, that's a story, though. That's still a story.
It's a story.
I don't like it. Let me be clear. I'm not a big Ty Simpson fan, and I don't think he ought to go in the first round. I think it's a story because you got teams that are positioning or theoretically positioning to find out if they can get him and how late they can wait to get him. And he's improved his stock more than anybody else, quarterback.
I compare his situation coming out of Alabama to when Malik Willis came out of Liberty. Malik Willis was projected to go in the 20s as the number 1 draft choice. A lot of people were projecting Malik Willis to possibly go to the Steelers. He didn't go to the Steelers. They took Kenny Pickett instead.
Yeah.
And Malik Willis then had to wait to the 3rd round. So the only thing I could see with Ty Simpson going in the first round is if Arizona late in the first round moves up and takes him. That's the only way I see it happening. And if he doesn't, and if they don't move up to take him, that means they're not that high on him. Will someone take a flyer on him in the 2nd round? The Rams aren't quarterback needy right now.
No, they would be replacing. They would be picking.
Assuming Matthew Stafford's only going to play 1 more year.
Then
everyone is assuming that.
And if that's the case, you need to draft a quarterback. And the Rams have to assume he's year to year now. He could get hurt.
You get a quarterback next year. You get someone in the 4th round. You get someone like Carson Beck later on. These teams they're not going to move up unless they have to. Ty Simpson has about the same value as a Carson Beck has.
I'm mostly playing devil's advocate here again because I don't like Ty Simpson's chances. He should not be a first-round pick, and the Rams aren't taking him. Where are they drafting? 13 or 14?
He shouldn't be a second-round pick.
If the Rams trade back, they may be looking to do that because they may think that they can still get him, in the second round.
For the Jets are not drafting a quarterback until the 4th round. There are a number of guys in the 4th round you could take a flyer on, and if they draft one of them and one of them gets playing time and plays exceptionally well next season, that could have a bearing on the following year's draft, whether the Jets go quarterback or not. That's understood, and that's logical. It's understood. But you don't draft a Geno Smith to be any more than a bridge quarterback, and a bridge to who? The Jets are not going to bypass next year's deep quarterback class because they're going to want a Ty Simpson to develop. Give me a break. I mean, it would be dumb. And they're not going to take them. Not only are they not going to take them with their second first-round pick, 16th, they're not going to take them with their 2 second-rounders, number 32 and number 44. They're not going to do it.
Well, you're worried about being in a position to draft, Trinidad Chambliss next year. I told you before the show that you can win the Super Bowl next year, which isn't going to happen, obviously. But you could win the Super Bowl, and you'd still be in position to draft Trinidad Chambliss. I'm going to make that prediction.
No, not. He's going to be he, to me, has a heck of a chance to win the Heisman next year. He's going to light it up at all. The only thing is, and I think you pointed this out, and this does make a lot of sense, Keith. I think you pointed it out yesterday. Correct me if I'm wrong. The coaching turnover at Ole Miss can't help him. Can't help him when the coaching.
That hurts him badly. That hurts his chances.
That might hurt. That might hurt him. It might take time to make an adjustment. Now, but if they get the right guys in to coach him, okay, the right staff, he'll be fine as he goes along. He'll get better as the season goes along. But if the coaching staff is completely out of whack and the program is out of whack, I'm not sure about the transfer portal, Keith. How many guys might go to LSU to join Lane Kiffin? And let's say his offensive line is out of whack. It could affect his performance next year, but he's NFL ready right now.
If he's NFL ready right now, he'd be in the draft. He's not.
He likes college. He likes college. He likes playing college ball.
You don't take a chance, and he's taking his stock will not be higher next year than it is this year. It will not, and it wasn't good this year.
He would be the second quarterback taken this year if he came out. Because the rest could have went to the combine.
The rest
he throws. He has a better arm than Simpson. He's a playmaker, more of a playmaker than Simpson. I know Simpson, the first few games at Alabama, would roll out, do some wonderful things, show mobility, but he would have looked better at the combines than Simpson.
He would have been a second round or third round draft pick, not a first round draft pick. You just wouldn't have. You can't tell me Simpson isn't first round and that Chambliss is based on what they've done. Ty Simpson had a better season last year.
Ty Simpson, the question is, does Arizona leapfrog ahead of the Jets in the second round? Okay. And that means they would let the Jets go very early in the second round for their first 2 second round selections, number 32.
Right.
So do they leapfrog ahead of them? I mean, that's
Arizona?
the question involved. Did they make a deal with New England and they could take Simpson? Does Arizona do that?
I think they'll have to make a deal probably to get Simpson myself because they're not taking him at 3, right? They're either trading back out of 3 and put themselves later in the first round to take him and hope he's there, or they got to trade with the Patriots, who may not be able to trade that number 31 pick because even though that's been some of the chatter, if they've got a deal in place on June 1st for A.J. Brown, they can't trade that pick. They're going to have to make a pick for the Eagles. Is what they're going to have to do. So that pick could be anywhere.
And the Eagles always surprise us with the things they do in the draft. I mean, who would have thought, when Carson Wentz was good, their franchise quarterback, they would have drafted Jalen Hurts, moved up in the second round to get him, moved up. And I wouldn't be shocked if it's a team like the Eagles. They move up and they take a Ty Simpson. Maybe Howie Roseman sees something a lot of us don't. Maybe they're tiring a little of Jalen Hurts, and they're thinking, we're not going to get a top college quarterback next year. This is as close as we can get.
You're probably right. One thing to think about with the quarterbacks in this year's draft and next year, if you're just planning ahead for next year, and March Manning and Chambliss and whoever else, remember something. The guys we were talking about at the top of this draft last year are nowhere near the top of this draft. Drew Allar is nowhere near the top of this draft. Klub Klubnik nowhere near the top of this draft. Sellers is back at South Carolina. Those were the top three guys. None of them are even in conversation. So Simpson and Mendoza were not even in the conversation about being high in this draft. So things can change, is my point. And there's going to be a couple guys next year at the top of this draft that we aren't even thinking about right now. And
at one point, Carson Beck was projected by some people to be a potential overall number one pick in the draft. When it's at Georgia. But the point is, these guys could maybe recapture what they once had.
Could be a done deal.
I just don't think Ty Simpson. If I'm the Jets, I think just the idea that they got Geno Smith, unless Aaron Glenn really doesn't get it, Geno Smith has to be a one and done situation. You're not getting Geno Smith to win. Obviously, the Jets are going to try to win. They're going to make some moves. You got to make moves because you have to build a team for next year, and you got to start building a team now for next year.
Fair.
But in the crucial quarterback position, you need a franchise quarterback. It's not going to be Geno Smith. But the same thing at Arizona with Jacoby Brissett.
Who's holding out, by the way? Who's holding out?
Holding out for what?
He's guaranteed $1.5
million. Yeah, I can understand that, holding out with that.
He's theoretically the starting quarterback. He's getting paid. He's getting $1.5 million guaranteed. I'd hold out too, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of holdouts, but this one I kind of get.
Yeah, I do too. But have we heard the last of Phillip Rivers? Yeah, I mean, could Phillip Rivers come back in an absolute crazy emergency for the Indianapolis Colts once again if everyone goes down? Yeah, I mean, I guess.
He'll be going in the Hall of Fame.
Phillip Rivers, he affected his status for getting in the Hall of Fame because he did come back and he has the waiting period again.
I can't see him play. I mean, he didn't play that well. He didn't. He did not play well. I might be able to throw the ball as far as Phillip Rivers right now, quite frankly. Maybe not when guys running at me, but I probably can. Let's talk a little bit about Jeremiah Love and do the Titans stay put. I think they should, and I think they will. But they're also a good chance they could trade back and to somebody who might want Jeremiah Love. And there's also a chance Jeremiah Love falls out of the top 10 because teams don't want to pay running backs even the rookie scale of what they get. Obviously, if you're top 5, you get more than if you're top 15.
Isn't that a great situation at Tennessee? They dealt with the Jets and the Giants. They got the former Jet head coach, Salah, to be their head coach at Tennessee, and Brian Daboll, the former Giant head coach, to be their offensive coordinator, which is intriguing because Salah's a defensive guy. And there are few really good players coming out of this draft on the defensive side of the ball, but he got the job based on developing Cam Ward. That was the key point with Salah. When he sat down with ownership, he had to buy all in on Cam Ward. I'm going to develop him.
Right.
So you go offense. That's why I see them taking Jeremiah Love. And he also wants to help Brian Daboll. Brian Daboll is going to want, someone on offense unless they trade down a few spots and they go wide receiver, and they get an additional draft capital, which they use for defense, but draft one of the receivers first.
What if they traded with the Browns and got their first round pick and their second round pick? They'd be picking 6 and whatever the Browns pick in second.
Well, why would the Browns do that?
They need a running back.
But they need a receiver too.
Well, again,
Shador Sanders didn't have anyone to throw to in particular, or Deshaun Watson. You know, who's going to be the start at Cleveland? That's a great question. And if you're asking me for a prediction, who's going to win the starting quarterback job, I'm going to say Deshaun Watson. I'm not saying who you think should get it, Keith. I think who's going to wind up being the starter. Because Deshaun, Shador Sanders is still a work in progress. I don't think after what he went through last year, he went through a lot. That wasn't of his own doing. He was run through the mill. And then he got a little experience at the end, so it worked out. And then he made a mockery. It wasn't Shador's fault. The Pro Bowl is such a foolish, stupid thing to do away with. Shador Sanders was a Pro Bowl. What a stupid, what a dumb thing the Pro Bowl has turned into. But that's another thing.
I don't read much into that because the Pro Bowl is just a joke.
No. But it does have an effect. Like Jim Jeffcoat used to say on this show, you look at someone's Hall of Fame credentials and you say, a 7-time Pro Bowler. You don't look at the real story, but with Cleveland,
that's going to lose some of its luster going forward. By the way,
if Deshaun Watson can just get back some of what he had, he should be the starter. Shador the backup, and we could transition at some point into Shador being the starter at Cleveland. But Cleveland, no need to move up a Jeremiah Love a couple of spots. You got the receivers. You got the offensive linemen. What's this Mangua? Is he that good?
Mangua,
I like Spencer Fano myself.
He's very, very good, and he might be the best player in the draft, quite frankly. But nobody's taking him there.
Yeah, maybe Cleveland does. Maybe Cleveland does. A wide
receiver at 6. If they want a wide receiver, they could trade back because none of them are going before.
Well, maybe the Giants do. I know the Giants have gotten burned with guys like Evan Neal, offensive linemen, but if you're not scared to take a chance again, you do it. I mean, even the Jets and their second first-round selection, my Jets who go number 16, they're linked to Omar Cooper, really good wide receiver from, Indiana. Good hands, good route runner, not exactly a burner, speed-wise. But if you have a guy like Spencer Fano from Utah, an offensive lineman there, and I know the Jets have gone offensive line heavily, last couple of years, but if that's the best player, you go with the best player.
The wide receiver position, to me, Jordan Tyson is the best wide receiver, but health is going to be an issue with him, whether he can stay healthy in the NFL when he couldn't in college for a lot of the time he was there. I think he's better than Tate, who's rated ahead of him.
I'm not high on Tate.
I'm not either, and I think he may fall in this first round. I think Tyson would be the best pick for anybody, but you're going to have to take a chance on the injuries. I like Cooper as well, but I think he's a guy who could get the Jets could even.
What about Lemon? He's not that quick, but
I like Lemon. He's going to be an inside receiver, right? He's not going to be, he's going to be over the middle in the short routes, the intermittent. But a lot of guys have made a big impact with that in that position. So I think he goes in the top 13 picks. He might be the first guy to go. It's possible to be the first wide receiver to go.
A couple of the players who we project as maybe top 10 picks, they might go 18, 20. A couple are going to slip on the board.
I've seen guys like the tackle from the tackle from Alabama. Patriots were linked to him.
Caden Proctor.
Yeah, I've seen him anywhere from like 5 to 31.
Yeah, I mean, Caden Proctor's problem is his weight.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy eats a dozen Krispy Kreme donuts, and you can't keep after guy to be in shape. Not that the guy wouldn't cooperate, but if it's not coming from within, he's a big guy. And they probably are thinking, oh, we could maybe even use him as a gadget player the way Alabama did, because he's so big. You could hand the ball off to him and he's so hard to bring down. If he's available in the second round for the Jets at number 32, okay, I would be fine with that, if they took him. Or our team takes him late in the first round. Even the middle rounds, I would think about it at least. If a team jumps up to get him, the Kansas City Chiefs are intriguing what they're going to do because I know the guy you're very high on, Ruben Bain. I assume you're still very high on him. If Bain is there for Kansas City and you play him next to Chris Jones,
can't let him go.
Yeah, I mean, that really shores up your defensive line. But again, they're talking, well, do we need another receiver, the Chiefs, for Patrick Mahomes? And maybe Jeremiah Love falls to number 9. I don't think he falls to 9 because I think the Saints would grab him at 8 if Love fell down a few.
I think the Redskins might take him at 7 if he fell.
7, yeah, the Commanders, yeah.
Oh, sorry, the team.
Yeah, him and Jaden Daniels together in that backfield. Jaden Daniels would use his legs a little less, which would help the Commanders. Yeah.
Yeah, I've said a couple of times, if Jeremiah Love falls in this draft, and whether it's 7, whether it's 8, whether it's 9, if it's 15, there's going to be a bunch of teams. Every team that passed on him is going to regret it in about 2 years.
Who's going to move up and who's going to move down?
It's impossible to know.
It's so hard to know. And I'm thinking of the Jets at number 2. Does a team like the Dallas Cowboys, do they absolutely love David Bailey? And are they going to call the Jets up and say, we'll give you our 2 first-rounders, number 12 and number 20, if you to flip-flop? And do they also throw in an additional draft pick, next year, 3rd rounder, 2nd rounder, down the line? Because they get Bailey and put him next to Quentin Williams. I mean, that's awesome. And a couple of there's some really good cornerbacks.
There's some really good cornerbacks that you'd be available for the Jets at that point. There's a safety. There's a couple of safeties. Caleb Downs. I've seen him anywhere from 5.
Caleb Downs is going to fall.
I've seen a couple projections where he falls into 12, but I don't think.
Right. I can. Caleb Downs. I just get a feeling he's linked to the Giants.
I think he's a 5th pick. I think I really do.
Yeah, for the Giants.
Yeah,
we're going number 5. That would be my guess there. I mean, I don't know what John Harbaugh is thinking, but part of it, I'm going to tell you, the Giants not go 5 and 10. But again, consider this: these new coaches, like I mentioned, Salah, same with Harbaugh, they're committed to their quarterback and getting him help. Now that the Giants have 2 first-rounders, 5th and 10th, they could possibly go defense 5th, figuring with the 10th pick will help Jackson Dart. We'll get him, we'll get him a receiver or whatever. Put someone on the other side of the field, with Malik Neighbors, and go from there.
I think the Giants have all kinds of directions they can go, obviously, and they could go just defense and get somebody like Styles and Downs together, which would be huge for that defense because Harbaugh's a defensive guy and wasn't involved.
He likes the defensive end.
Yeah, they could go for offensive help, but it's really kind of a reach a little bit for these wide receivers, I think, at that 10th spot. Or they could, at 5, they could totally not go anywhere there and go to Magoya at 5 and help.
I have a hard time pronouncing Mongoya's name. What about this? Could you imagine? This would be a gutsy move.
You probably said it wrong.
This would be a gutsy move, and the Giant fan base, it wouldn't be appealing to them, but they'd maybe understand that the Giants get Manguna at 5 and Fano at 10, and they address the offensive line for Jackson Dart. And then they see what receivers or whatever the rest of the draft or what they can do more in the off season. That would be a gutsy move. It would. And it could conceivably be the best move if you're looking to protect your young quarterback.
Yeah. And if they did that, I mean, they could still, Downs could potentially still be there at that 10th pick. They've got the kid.
No, I mean, they wouldn't take Downs at the 10th pick. I'm saying they'd use their 5th and 10th on offensive linemen.
Oh, both of them. So
that would be a gutsy move. I wouldn't do it. But it's logical. It's logical when you have a young quarterback like that.
Right. From a football X's and O's standpoint.
And even Tennessee, we're assuming, they want to get Cam Ward help. They'll get Jeremiah Love. They'll get him a weapon. Well, what about, offensive linemen there to help him out?
How about tight end? The kid from Oregon's really good, by the way, Sadiq.
The tight ends block more, yeah.
I think he's really, and there's a kid, not in the first round, later on, the kid from Vanderbilt, Stoll, I think his name is. He's a guy.
This kid with all this potential. How do you say his name? Sadiq,
the kid from Oregon, yeah.
Yeah. He looks, again, there's a big danger in taking him because his stock rose big time based on what he did at the combine.
Yes.
That is someone is going to whiff on him. They're going to whiff on him.
I think he's
take it, and he's projected to go number 14 to the Ravens right now.
Yep.
And the I just think they whiff on him because this combine stuff. Forget what you see at the combines unless it's a later round pick. I'm gonna take a chance on a guy, what he shows at the combine, once I start picking in the 4th round. No earlier than that, probably 5th to 6th round. I'm going to look at his athletic potential a little more because you could afford to miss at that stage.
Yeah.
But you take a guy in the 1st round. Look, the Colts did that with Anthony Richardson. Oh, what potential. The Jets did it with Zach Wilson. Those were combine picks.
Absolutely crazy to make that pick for them. And the Patriots are going to be looking, by the way, later on. They're not going to take a tight end, even if they're picking for themselves at 31. They're not taking a tight end. But there's a couple tight ends that you're going to be able to get in the 2nd and 3rd round. And I love this kid from Vanderbilt for any team, especially the Patriots.
Is it inevitable to you that A.J. Brown goes to the Patriots?
It's starting to look that way. I mean, I'm not willing to say it's a done deal, but
why is it taking so long? I don't get it.
It's taking so long now because the Eagles are going to save $7 million in cap hit if they wait till after June 1st to make the trade.
So do you think they have kind of a silent agreement with the Patriots that both teams understand the Patriots are not going to draft a receiver, probably thinking, okay, we're going to get A.J. Brown because we know the Eagles have to wait until June 1st, and they've had discussions, and they've come to some type of understanding, and the Eagles said to the Patriots, unless a team blows us away with a crazy offer, we'll do business with you.
I think when you see the Patriots pick, if they trade that pick on draft night, then I think there is no deal for A.J. Brown. If they pick and it's somebody who obviously fits the Eagles, you'll know they picked for the Eagles and there's a trade. That's, I think, when you'll know.
Howie Roseman, the thing I like about him too, this draft, he's going to plan for next year, maybe more so than this year. All his moves are going to be based on putting him in position next season. Because he's probably looking at the Eagle team and he's probably saying, we still have a playoff caliber team. I still think we make the playoffs with the team we have. Mm-hmm. But I think he might want to reboot a little bit, just a little bit.
Possibly. And listen, rebooting, they could still be in a position to contend for a Super Bowl, quite frankly. I mean, there's enough talent there that they could still compete, even tweaking.
Yeah. The way they are now, they can still do it. But the A.J. Brown saga, it'll be something to be wound up back with the Eagles. But the Eagles aren't just going to give them away.
No.
Unless the chemistry is so bad then. And, A.J. Brown's been made out to be a villain. But when you think about all the coordinators and all the problems running the offense, he's not all that wrong in what he's complaining about.
Yeah. Look at if the Patriots take a wide receiver at 31, it might signal that players
Listen,
going.
what's going on with Stephon Diggs?
Say that again?
What is Stephon Diggs going to be picked up by any team, or is off the field issues going to maybe prevent them?
I think he'll get picked, depending on what happens when this gets adjudicated here in June or July, whenever it happens. I think you'll see him sign somewhere. It's possible. There's been talk that he might come back to the Patriots on a reworked contract. And he was other than off the field and whatever he did or didn't.
Let me tell you, I got to get the name of this kid from Georgia. He's projected to be a second-round selection. He got in trouble with the police. They wouldn't move out of the way somewhere. He was blocking something. Are these guys out of their minds? So this kid who was going to go projected to go second overall, if I'm a team, I don't want to touch him now.
You're talking
I don't want to know from him now.
Zachariah Branch, you're talking about?
I believe so. I don't want to say that's the name.
Yeah, he was a day 2 potential, and he got
but I don't
obstructing a public sidewalk is what he's charged with.
Right. I mean, it's their worst crimes than that. Don't get me wrong.
Also, prowling and obstruction of a law enforcement officer.
Now, if you're not listening to police officer, I'm thinking if I'm a coach, you're not going to listen to me.
Yeah.
I'm not. His only hope is someone on the NFL coaching staff has coached this kid before and knows him and can vouch for his character and will talk up to him, but it's what it is.
He says he'll be playing for the mean machine in prison.
Yeah, well.
I don't think he's going to prison. He's only charged with 3 misdemeanors. He'll probably, plead out.
No, I don't mean that. He's hurt his draft stock.
Oh, definitely. He could fall into.
Remember that name, Keith. When we come back on, Friday, it's only going to be round 1, so he wasn't projected to be taken.
No.
But the following Monday, when you and I do the show, I'm curious where this kid is going to be taken. So why don't you and I make a prediction?
Let me write his name down.
Potential second-round selection. Just had the problems with the prowling and the this and the that with an officer. I'm going to say late 4th round. How's that?
You know what? That's probably what I would say. Early to mid to late 4th round, I think is right. And you know what? That's a lot of money he cost himself from early in the second round.
Yeah. Like take it. You'll fill us in on that. That's going to be like a fun kind of.
That's a lot of money.
He might wind up.
A lot of money he costs. And just a quick reminder, since Jack said that, just a quick program note. We're going to go live Friday morning at 7 a.m. if you guys want to come in and comment, and I will replay the show at 8 o'clock.
7 a.m. So yeah,
7 a.m.
Yeah, Friday.
So
I saw, by the way, just very quickly, I saw a good documentary yesterday, Logo on Prime Video about Jerry West.
Oh,
recommended watching.
I've been waiting to watch that. I will check that out.
It's a good one. Brings back to life the greatest impact individual in the history of the NBA. And when I say impact, when I say greatest, I mean if you combine West, what he did as a player and as an executive, he's the greatest of all time. It's the greatest body of work individual of all time, having a career in the NBA. No one's career, it matches Jerry West. As great as Jordan and LeBron are, when you look what West did as an executive on top of a player.
And he coached on top of it. Didn't coach a lot.
Well, forget the coaching. He hated coaching, he said, Yeah. But,
that's a great point, too. I mean, there's been chatter in the last few years about changing the logo, and that'd be blasphemous to me to ever change that logo in the NBA.
Well, that's a discussion for another time. It
would be awful. Anyway, back to the draft. Anything? What else you got, Jack? You want to throw out there about?
The draft is intriguing. What's intriguing are the moves that are going to be made before the draft. Yeah. And I'm not. You mentioned like Ty Simpson, a team coming down. Someone is going to make a bold move. Maybe at the top of the draft. Well, look, we saw it last year, didn't we, with Travis Hunter? And I thought at the time when Cleveland made the deal and traded Travis Hunter to Jacksonville, I thought that's a mistake because Travis Hunter could be a generational player. I thought future Hall of Famer. And even though Cleveland got some decent value, I didn't think it was a good deal for them. And so far, after 1 year, the jury's still out on that deal. Cleveland, as of now, has gotten the better of the deal. As of now. Now, is that going to change? If Hunter is healthy, okay, going forward, it'll switch where Jacksonville will ultimately, I think, get the better of the deal because I think Hunter's going to be a premier cornerback. You know, I don't know will it pan out ever as wide receiver, but Cleveland picked up some good pieces all in all.
I think it's possible. Talk about bold moves, and it's not that big a move, but I think the team formerly known as the Redskins may move up to get Jeremiah Love and move ahead.
Is it going to be worth it? And
I
say
think
they don't get Jeremiah Love. Look at the players who are available. I'll tell you with the Commanders, they were one-hit wonder the year before last.
But you don't find running backs every day. The NFL thinks you find a running back, you just plug him in and play him. There's not going to be another guy picked until his running mate at Notre Dame, Price, is picked until maybe the third round, second round, mid-second round at best. Running backs don't – guys this good, two-way threats, he's a four-down back. They don't grow on trees.
Yeah, I was surprised a few years back when James Cook coming out of Georgia lasted till the third round.
That's what
I thought, his value is too great. Why are they taking him so lightly? Because he's a running back. Now, Jeremiah Love is going to be considered a weapon. The question, but he's going to be a neat pick as well. That's the thing. Like you mentioned,
yes.
with the Jets have Breece Hall. What team really needs a running back bad enough? That's the question. If he goes to ninth,
didn't you say yesterday, and maybe other times before, that other than quarterback, you should always take the best player available?
I agree. That's me, and I would. I'm looking at it from there, Love. Let's say Love lasts to number 9 for the Kansas City Chiefs. I would be all over them, but they just got Kenneth Walker, and their logic is, well, we don't need a running back. They're going to go receiver, defense.
Let's say with Jets and best player available. Bryce Hall's had injury issues.
Listen, if Jeremiah Love is that number 16, you take him, okay? He's not going to be that number 16. At number 2, you take David Bailey. There's a thought the Jets might take Arbel Reese, but
who's a better player?
I think Bailey.
Remember, you said best player. So again, if you think Bailey's better than Love, then you take him.
I'm stuck.
It's close,
different positions.
I know.
It's like comparing a pitcher to an outfield in baseball. If we sat down to draft and we could have Bonds or Clemens that's both 22 and we know they're going to have great careers, come on.
Make calls. Again, otherwise you're drafting for need. They bypass on the running back who they think could be better. Maybe he's not, but could be better for Bailey. I'm not saying either pick is a good pick for the Jets, but
but you can't go on. I know what you're saying, but someone is going. The Commanders go number 7. I think they would, if they want Jeremiah Love, I think they're going to wait on him because Jeremiah Love is not going to go number 2 to Jets. He's not going to go 3 to Arizona. Okay. No. So he might go to Tennessee at number 4. So they would have to leapfrog over Tennessee, go second or third. If I'm the Jets, do I want to give up on David Bailey? If the Commanders are flip-flop 2 and 7 and give you their number 1 pick next year, it's something you got to think about.
Yeah.
But I don't want to, I think Bailey is going to be a great talent that's going to, I think he's the next Chris Jones. You're giving up on Chris Jones. Come on.
Got to give up on somebody to get somebody. Well, we'll see. These predictions
will all be wrong. Anyway, if you can get them, you don't give up on them. Get someone else. You got a short thing, you take them.
These predictions will likely all be wrong Thursday night, and we'll recap them on Friday morning. So you guys, Jack, good show. Thanks for your participation, guys. For Jack and Keith, we'll catch Jack tonight, by the way, and Frank. It's
7 p.m. Glove Fist. We have a guest on James Smitty Smith, who was a ball boy of the Miami Dolphins, actually, doing an unbeaten season.
So you're going to talk.
He'll talk a little about that besides boxing.
Frank's a Miami fan, isn't he?
Yeah.
You got an hour. You got an hour of Dolphins tonight.
Oh,
Glove Fist, nice.
Yeah, we have a boxing show tonight, but we're going to talk Miami Dolphins football. Great. That's what this world has come to.
Have a great Monday, guys. Bye-bye.